The mirror chuckled, a soft melodic sound that sent shivers down Nkechi's spine. You see only what you want to see, it said, but there is more to you than what you see in your reflection. Would you like to see the truth, Nkechi? Without fully understanding what was happening, Nkechi nodded, her curiosity overpowering her fear. Suddenly, the reflection in the mirror began to change. At first, it was subtle, a slight dimming of her bright eyes, a frown forming on her perfect lips. But then the transformation grew more pronounced. Her skin, once smooth and flawless, began to crack and peel, revealing a twisted, ugly version of herself. Long ago, in the heart of a vibrant African village, there lived a young woman named Nkechi. Known far and wide for her radiant beauty, Nkechi carried herself with an air of confidence that often drew admiring stares from the people around her. Her skin was as smooth as polished clay, her eyes sparkled like the evening stars, and her hair cascaded down her back like a river of black silk. Wherever she went, compliments followed her like a shadow. Women would whisper about how lucky she was, and men would glance at her with wide eyes, enchanted by her beauty. Over time, however, the constant praise began to inflate Nkechi's pride. She believed her beauty made her better than everyone else, and she became obsessed with her appearance, always searching for new ways to enhance it and receive even more admiration. One afternoon, while strolling the bustling village market, Nkechi spotted an old woman sitting at a dusty store tucked away in a corner. The store looked ancient, covered in cobwebs and filled with strange, forgotten items that seemed out of place among the lively vendors selling fruits, vegetables, and fabrics. As Nkechi was about to pass by, something gleamed from the corner of her eye. She turned and saw a small mirror hanging from the side of the woman's store. The mirror was framed in polished wood that gleamed brightly despite the dirt and green that surrounded it. It seemed to glow, beckoning her closer. Curious, Nkechi approached the old woman, her eyes fixed on the mirror. The old woman, noticing Nkechi's interest, smiled faintly, revealing teeth that were yellowed with age. "Ah, you have a good eye," the old woman said in a raspy voice. "This mirror is not like the others. It's a special one." Nkechi, now intrigued, picked up the mirror. As she held it in her hands, she gazed into it and saw her reflection staring back at her. But something about the reflection felt different. It was as if her image was alive, more vivid and real than any mirror she had ever looked into before. Her curiosity deepened. "How much is this mirror?" Nkechi asked, already imagining how it would look hanging in her hut, reflecting her beauty every day. The old woman chuckled softly. "The mirror is not for sale. It chooses its owner, and it seems to have chosen you. But be warned, my dear, this mirror shows more than just your face. It shows you the truth." Nkechi didn't pay attention to the old woman's warning. She was far too captivated by the mirror's beauty and the idea of having it as her own. Without hesitation, she thanked the old woman and hurried home with her new treasure. That night, as the village settled into the quiet hum of evening, Nkechi sat in her hut, with the mirror propped up in front of her. The flickering light from her oil lamp cast long shadows on the walls, but Nkechi was too focused on her reflection to notice. She admired the smoothness of her skin, the brightness of her eyes, the fullness of her lips. Her beauty was indeed undeniable, and she felt a swell of pride as she gazed into the mirror. But then, something strange happened. As she continued to stare at her reflection, she noticed that the image in the mirror blinked before she did. Startled, Nkechi blinked again, but the reflection seemed to have a life of its own. Her heart skipped. She leaned in closer, her breath catching in her throat. Then a voice filled the room. It was soft yet firm and seemed to come from the mirror itself. "Is this all you see, Nkechi?" the voice asked. Nkechi jumped back, her eyes wide with fear. Who is speaking?" she stammered. "It is I, the mirror," the voice responded, calm and steady. "I show you more than just your face. I show you your true self." Nkechi's heart raced, but her fear slowly gave way to curiosity. "What do you mean, my true self?" she asked cautiously. "I already know who I am." The mirror chuckled, a soft melodic sound that sent shivers down Nkechi's spine. "You see only what you want to see," it said, "but there is more to you than what you see in your reflection. Would you like to see the truth, Nkechi?" Without fully understanding what was happening, Nkechi nodded, her curiosity overpowering her fear. Suddenly, the reflection in the mirror began to change. At first, it was subtle, a slight dimming of her bright eyes, a frown forming on her perfect lips. But then the transformation grew more pronounced. Her skin, once smooth and flawless, began to crack and peel, revealing a twisted, ugly version of herself. Her eyes, once sparkling, turned cold and hollow. Her smile, once warm and inviting, became cruel and distorted. The image in the mirror showed her as she truly was inside, vain, selfish, and unkind. Nkechi gasped and dropped the mirror, her hands trembling. "No!" she cried. "This isn't me. This can't be me." "But it is you," the mirror said calmly. "This is the part of you that you have been hiding, the part that no one sees. Your pride, your greed, your lack of kindness, this is what you are becoming." Tears filled Nkechi's eyes as she stared at the shattered reflection on the floor. She had always thought of herself as beautiful, better than others because of her appearance. But now, faced with the truth, she felt ashamed and small. She realized that her obsession with her beauty had blinded her to the person she was becoming inside. In the days that followed, Nkechi could not escape the image the mirror had shown her. It haunted her, appearing in her thoughts every time she looked at her reflection in a puddle, a window, or any other surface. She became withdrawn, avoiding the market and the people who once showered her with praise. Instead of basking in admiration, she now felt a deep sense of shame and guilt. She spent hours locked in her hut, staring into the mirror, hoping that her reflection would change, hoping that she would see the beautiful version of herself once again. But no matter how long she looked, the same twisted, ugly version of herself stared back. The villagers began to notice Nkechi's absence. They whispered amongst themselves, wondering what had happened to the once vibrant and proud young woman. Some said she had been cursed, others said she had fallen ill, but no one knew the true reason for her withdrawal. No one except Nkechi. One afternoon, a group of children from the village who had always admired Nkechi came to her hut. They missed her kind smile and her gentle ways with them. Knocking on her door, they called out to her. "Nkechi, come out and play with us," they shouted, their voices filled with innocent excitement. Inside, Nkechi sat by the window, her heart heavy with sorrow. She heard the children's voices, but she couldn't bring herself to face them. She was too ashamed of what she had become. After a few moments of silence, one of the children, a little girl named Ifunanya, peeked through the window. She saw Nkechi sitting alone, her once beautiful face now pale and tired. "Nkechi," Ifunanya said softly, "why are you hiding from us? We miss you. You were always so kind to us." Nkechi's heart ached at the sound of the child's voice. She had never thought of herself as kind. She had always believed her beauty was what made her special. But hearing Ifunanya's innocent words made her realize just how far she had fallen. Tears welled down her eyes as she opened the door and stepped outside. The children gasped when they saw her. Nkechi no longer looked like the radiant beauty they remembered. Her skin was dull, her eyes were hollow, and her hair was unkempt. But instead of running away in fear, Ifunanya stepped forward and took Nkechi's hand. "It doesn't matter what you look like," Ifunanya said gently. "We still love you." In that moment, something inside Nkechi broke. She had spent so much time focusing on her outer beauty that she had forgotten what truly mattered: kindness, love, and the relationship she had with those around her. The mirror had shown her the ugliness of her pride and vanity, but these children, with their pure hearts, were showing her the beauty of compassion and acceptance. That night, as the village gathered for their usual evening festivities in the square, Nkechi made a decision. She knew she could no longer live in the shadow of the person who she had become. She had to let go of her pride, her vanity, and embrace the true beauty that came from within. With the mirror in her hands, Nkechi stood before the villagers. She could feel their eyes on her, the weight of their expectations pressing down on her shoulders. But for the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid. She wasn't trying to impress anyone or seek their approval. "This mirror showed me something I had forgotten," Nkechi began to speak, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I thought my beauty was everything. I thought it made me special, made me better than others. But I was wrong. It blinded me to the truth that what truly matters is how we treat one another, how we show kindness and love." The villagers listened in silence, their eyes fixed on Nkechi. "I want to apologize," Nkechi continued, her voice trembling silently. "To all of you, I became someone I am not proud of. I allowed vanity and pride to consume me, and I forgot the important things: kindness, love, and humility. But I want to change. I want to be the person you see, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well." With that, Nkechi lifted the mirror above her head and threw it to the ground. It shattered into 1,000 pieces, the sound echoing through the square. The villagers gasped, but Nkechi smiled. For the first time in a long while, she felt free. As the shards of the mirror lay scattered on the ground, reflecting the flickering firelight, Nkechi realized that she no longer needed the mirror's reflection to define her. She had seen the truth of who she was, and now she was ready to rebuild herself, not based on outward beauty, but on the strength of her heart and the kindness she would show to others. And so, Nkechi returned to her life in the village, no longer obsessed with her appearance, but focused on being a person of kindness, compassion, and humility. She became a beloved member of the community once more, not for her beauty, but for the warmth and love she showed to everyone around her. The moral lesson of this story is that true beauty is not found in outward appearance, but in the heart. Pride and vanity can blind us to the importance of kindness, love, and compassion. What matters most is not how we look, but how we treat others. Thank you so much for watching this beautiful story by Petrolina. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop your comments. It helps us grow our channel. See you in my next story. Bye.